Number 7. Mitsubishi Mirage 2014. The Mitsubishi Mirage is not a disaster. It is something harder to defend, a car that met the absolute minimum requirement and nothing beyond it. The 1.2-liter three-cylinder engine produced 78 horsepower in a car positioned as basic urban transportation. Fuel economy was genuinely competitive, and the purchase price was one of the lowest in the American market. But the Mirage delivered those benefits at the cost of almost everything else. 0 to 60 required over 12 seconds. At highway speeds, the engine operated under a level of noise and effort that made extended driving unpleasant. Safety ratings were generally less competitive than many rivals in the segment, raising concerns given the car's minimal structure and low price point. Consumer Reports consistently rated it among the least recommended vehicles in the American market across multiple production years. The Mirage is at number 7, not because it failed spectacularly, but because it represented what happens when a manufacturer decides that cheap is sufficient and delivers a product that confirms exactly why cheap is not enough. Number 6. Dodge Journey 2009-2020. Some cars earn their place on a list like this not through failure, but through something more specific: being sold unchanged and unimproved for more than a decade past the point where the product had any legitimate claim to the buyer's money. The Dodge Journey was introduced in 2009 on an aging platform that quickly became uncompetitive in its segment. Rather than replace or substantially update it, Chrysler kept it in production through 2020, 11 years, while Japanese and Korean competitors produced successive generations of crossovers that made the Journey's interior quality, reliability record, and driving dynamics look increasingly indefensible. Consumer Reports rated it poorly for reliability across most of its production run. Interior materials reflected a product frozen at a moment when Chrysler's standards were not competitive with the alternatives buyers had. The Journey's 11-year run is its own indictment. A manufacturer that kept selling a car it knew was outclassed to buyers who deserved better because the margins were acceptable even when the product was not. It wasn't just outdated, it was knowingly outdated and sold that way for over a decade. Number 5. Jeep Compass, first generation, 2007-2017. The Jeep Compass was sold with the Jeep badge, the Jeep styling, and the Jeep marketing, and delivered an ownership experience that undermined all three. The first-generation Compass, produced from 2007 with a facelift in 2011 that improved it meaningfully, used a platform shared with the Dodge Caliber, a car whose reliability record had itself been documented as below average. The continuously variable transmission fitted to many configurations attracted owner complaints that were consistent enough across the production run to define the car's reputation. Interior quality fell short of what buyers at the Compass's price point expected, and significantly short of what the Jeep name implied was being offered. The four-wheel drive variants attracted buyers who expected genuine off-road capability from a Jeep nameplate, and found a primarily front-wheel drive-based system that delivered the styling without the substance. The Compass is on this list because it sold a specific identity it could not support, at a price that it required it to support it, to buyers who had a right to expect it would. It didn't fail quietly, it failed while wearing a badge that promised the opposite.
Number 4. Nissan Juke 2011-2017. The Nissan Juke is the car on this list that generated the most divided reaction. Buyers either found its distinctive styling appealing or they did not, and that division tended to define how the car was perceived. But the case for the Juke's place here does not rest on styling. Some model years experienced CVT-related reliability concerns significant enough to appear consistently in owner surveys and reliability data across the production run. Repair costs for CVT failure in a car at the Juke's price point created a financial outcome many owners had not anticipated. The cargo space was limited in ways that reduced the car's practical utility beyond what its compact dimensions had implied. Fuel economy was competitive in theory, but less impressive in real-world conditions. Consumer Reports rated the Juke below average for reliability across multiple years of production. The problem wasn't that it was different, it was that owning it often became more expensive than buyers expected from something this small. Number 3. Fiat 500L, 2014 to 2019. The Fiat 500L was positioned as the practical, spacious evolution of the Fiat 500, a car that could serve as a genuine everyday vehicle for buyers who loved the original's character but needed more capability. What it delivered was one of the most consistently below-average reliability records in the American compact segment during its production years. Consumer Reports rated the 500L poorly across multiple consecutive years. The electrical system attracted consistent complaints. The dual-clutch transmission exhibited shuddering and hesitation behavior that owners found difficult to resolve through dealer service. Dealer support for a relatively low-volume Italian import was inconsistent, and parts availability extended repair timelines in ways that made the car impractical for owners who experienced serious problems. It didn't just disappoint owners, it contributed to weakening the credibility of the Fiat brand in the US. A car sold on the promise of Italian character and everyday practicality delivered neither, and buyers who experienced it had good reason not to give the brand a second chance. Number 2. Ford Focus, 2012 to 2016. The Ford Focus should have been one of the best compact cars of its decade. Competitive in design, efficient, and well-positioned against its rivals. Instead, it became one of the most widely criticized ownership experiences of the 2010s, driven largely by a single engineering decision that defined the entire car. The power-shift dual-clutch transmission developed persistent issues reported by owners across the production run. Shuddering in stop-and-go traffic, hesitation when accelerating from a standstill, and inconsistent, sometimes unpredictable behavior in normal driving conditions. These problems were not isolated. They appeared repeatedly in owner reports, dealership visits, and long-term reliability data. Ford issued software updates, replaced components, and extended warranties in response. But for many owners, the fixes reduced symptoms without eliminating the problem. What remained was a car that performed well in theory, but felt unfinished in practice. The Focus didn't fail everywhere. It failed in the one place drivers notice most, the way it moves every single day. Number 1. Nissan Altima 2013 to 2018. The Nissan Altima was designed to be exactly what most mid-sized sedan buyers were looking for: practical, efficient, and dependable. It succeeded in some of those areas, but over time, a pattern emerged that reshaped how the car was perceived. The continuously variable transmission, central to the Altima's efficiency strategy, became associated with recurring complaints from owners: hesitation under acceleration, delayed response, and in some cases, premature failure. These issues did not affect every vehicle, but they appeared consistently enough across multiple model years to become part of the car's reputation. For a vehicle purchased primarily for reliability, that distinction matters. Transmission repairs were often expensive and in some cases occurred earlier than buyers expected. The Altima remained competitive in comfort, fuel economy, and everyday usability, but it struggled in the area where buyers assumed confidence: long-term durability. It didn't fail completely, but it failed where trust matters most.